Thanks everyone for joining us today. This is webinar number 29 in a series of webinars for small business navigating the impacts of COVID-19. I'm Barbara Coffey, Director of Economic Initiatives for the City of Tucson. Today we'll talk with our friends at Local First Arizona and hear about some innovative ways they are supporting entrepreneurs throughout our region. As always, we'll take your questions as we go, so feel free to enter those in the chat box or the Q&A, and we'll get to as many of those as possible in our time together this afternoon. We'll keep all participants muted since we do have a large number of attendees, but we will record the session and make it available for everyone tomorrow. Usually you can find that there by the afternoon. You can also find links to all previous webinars at connecttucson.com. So let's get started. Michael Peel is the statewide sustainability director for Local First Arizona Foundation with over 15 years of experience in sustainability program development, local business, and nonprofit support services. He is a proud Tucson native. Alongside Mike is Claire Kaufman, the Southern Arizona Sustainability Program Manager with Local First Arizona, where she manages the Southern Arizona Green Business Leaders Program and ScaleUp Workshop Series. Claire is a self-proclaimed environmentalist, social justice advocate, and localist with a passion for sharing knowledge and empowering community. Kelly Liska, an AmeriCorps public ally in Tucson. Kelly is with the Local First Sustainability team to support the implementation of Southern Arizona Green Business Alliance programs, including Green Business Leaders and Scale Up. She loves to discuss systems change and is currently creating a podcast about the Sonoran Desert. Representing businesses in the Scale Up program, Heidi and Alan Trevethan with House Trevethan. Heidi and Alan work on software solution projects, large and small. They have found that often a missing component on technology projects is a sense of being on a team. They focus their efforts then on being human, approachable, transparent, and most of all kind, as a way to set themselves apart from their competition in their industry. And finally, Luke Goodhart is the operations lead at Brink Creative Group, who plans and produces art and tech-driven solutions to solve the evolving challenges people face. Brink has studios in Tucson and Washington, D.C., and they pride themselves on progressive brand design, product innovation, and the development of social impact initiatives. With that, I'll turn it over to Mike Peel to get us started this afternoon. Welcome, Mike. Welcome, everyone. Thank you all for joining today.
Thank you, Barbara, and thank you for the opportunity to present about Local First Arizona sustainability programs that we are really proud of been taking off here in Southern Arizona, and really these are the ones that have started here and are now, one is going statewide that you'll hear about Scale Up. So I'm going to share my screen, but before I do that, I wanted to let everyone know that we encourage questions throughout the presentation, and we can address them if they come up during the different sections on the programs, but we can also address them at the end as well. So I'll present at the beginning, and then Claire will present on Scale Up, Kelly will present on Green Leaders, and then Heidi and Alan will talk about their Green Leaders experience, and Luke will talk about his Scale Up experience, and then we'll have time for Q&A. So I will now share my screen. Can you all see that?
Yes, great.
All right. Great. So first off, I wanted to give a little more background on what we've been up to from the large-scale statewide vision of Local First Arizona and sustainability. And what we've been working on is developing programs that can be responsive in real time to the businesses that we serve and the nonprofits that we serve across the state. And so in my role as statewide sustainability director, it's been important to consider the times that we're in, and certainly the climate crisis, and also the resiliency needs that we need to be planning for with the COVID-19 crisis, and ensuring that we are helping businesses re-envision, reimagine what they can do with their business models, to be supporting them with cost savings, to be supporting them with opportunities for new models that might be more flexible and more adaptable in these times, to serving also community needs. So thinking about different ways of doing business that could be helping differentiate their business model, and then attracting more customers as a result, and also engaging their employees and overall sustaining them as we do at Local First Arizona, ensuring that we're providing the education and the resources to sustain them in the long term. So that's what we're about at Local First Arizona. We're a community development organization. We're about community and economic development, of course, and it's about ensuring a long-term successful environment for local businesses, one that's diverse and inclusive, where local businesses and nonprofits can thrive, and that we can ensure that we are keeping more dollars in our community, that we ensure that there's a retaining of dollars here so that more jobs can be created and we can vote with our dollars by keeping them local. That's what we've been about from day one of Local First Arizona, is keeping our dollars here, and the idea of shifting local. It's important as we're about to get into a holiday season to be thinking about, and all the time too, not just the holiday season, but since it's right around the corner, thinking about that shift. We've always said, shift at least 10% of your dollars and vote with your dollars. And that's the minimum. We want to see a lot more of it. And there are many ways we do that as an organization. So we've started as an organization focused on think local, buy local, and be local. And we've since grown as an organization to focus on many different areas, including our local food systems and ensuring that they're strong throughout our state, as well as rural economic development and looking at the needs in underserved communities with our Fuerza Local program to support businesses. That's a program that's provided as an accelerator program, taught completely in Spanish. And then we also have a number of other programs underway with sustainability that you'll hear all about today. And of course, our Local First Arizona directory, it's an opportunity to always look for local businesses in your area and to be supporting our network. And we're excited that there's a Shop Arizona website now underway and available to help more businesses get connected to consumers that want to shop local. And we were fortunate to be able to talk about that recently on a webinar last month that Barbara was able to connect us to promote that initiative. So we're about keeping the dollars here, as I've mentioned already, and the statistics really speak for themselves. For every $100 spent at a locally owned business, $43 remains in the economy versus for every $100 spent at a non-locally owned business, only $13 remains in the economy, according to the studies that we have that you can read more about on our website, localfirstaz.com. And the bigger picture that I want to highlight today as we're talking about these programs, it's about economic resiliency and helping businesses be increasingly self-reliant. So when we say that, we are looking to provide as many tools in the toolkit to think about resiliency for disaster planning, for example, which is the obvious topic of the day, but also considering how we can think ahead for new challenges and crises that are going to come up, especially in a desert community like ours. And then being economically inclusive of all residents. As an organization, our focus is on diversity, equity, and inclusion, and ensuring that there are widespread opportunities for everyone to succeed and creating more jobs here. And as we create more of that shift that I've talked about already, we will have more dollars circulating through our economy and more businesses able to be supported in the long term and growing in the long term, and more entrepreneurs able to be successful in that type of ecosystem that we're all about and what we're aiming for. Next is to be about thriving, entrepreneurial, and innovative with access to capital. So we focus on what's important with anything we do, sustainability or otherwise, that the capital is there. And that's why we have a big emphasis on local banks and credit unions, knowing the trends with the big banks not supporting as much in terms of the trends with the access to loans and access to capital. We have seen there's a dramatic difference between local banks and credit unions and what they do for their community and what they invest in as well. When we talk about the climate crisis and what they're investing in, we see there's definite trends in the opposite direction with the big banks. And we are very supportive of those who are community minded and considering all the different needs that are out there in the community, particularly with areas that have not had as much access to capital, like sustainability and new business models, like employee co-ops, for example. And then also being environmentally sustainable with businesses in the lead, of course. We'll be talking about that today. So as I mentioned, all of these different bigger picture goals and ideals here, a resource that I highly recommend is the Democracy Collaborative. It's an organization that has numerous studies on the benefits of localism and sustainability. It's one of many that we are linked with across the nation, and we have many others that we are part of a network with local business coalitions. So there's also the Institute for Local Self-Reliance. There's the Project Equity, if you want to know more about employee cooperatives and new business models. There's Democracy at Work Institute. So there are many like-minded organizations across the nation doing this work, and we're proud to be one of the largest in the nation doing this work. And so with Local First Arizona Sustainability, specifically when we're talking about our programs and our team with sustainability, we're about ensuring that economic sustainability is going hand in hand with working for the environment as well, to be benefiting the environment, and ensuring that we have a community that we can live in our desert community long term, that's healthy and safe. And the major goals of our team in helping our members be more sustainable include reducing operating costs by saving on utilities, reducing energy, water, waste, and carbon emissions, educating businesses and employees and patrons on the benefits of supporting businesses that are environmentally minded and helping their community be healthier in terms of air quality and clean energy sources, and ensuring that we are part of the solution with the climate crisis and preparing for that future. And that also has business benefits that are significant with attracting and retaining clients that want to support businesses that have that mindset, as well as customers, of course, and the employees being engaged. But we are partners with Mrs. Green's World, which is a global platform for green teams and focusing on how to build that culture of sustainability, which is a big thread throughout our programs, is how do we build that long-term commitment and that behavior change that will lead to more of that adoption across the community of these practices, and ensuring that more businesses can thrive with this planning approach strategically long-term. I also want to mention that we have created a Southern Arizona Green Business Alliance recently, and this is meant to be a hub, a platform for the resources and the tools that are available for businesses and nonprofits to strengthen their sustainability planning. That includes the programs that we have underway, and we have partnerships with for example, the Tucson 2030 district, as well as the city of Tucson, Pima County, University of Arizona, Tucson Electric Power, Pima Association of Governments, and so many others that are engaged, that we will be building the Alliance more so over the next year to be linked to any effort that is related to sustainability and resiliency. So that's the goal, to have a resilient and regenerative economy that's focused on helping more people and helping more businesses. We have 3 programs through the Alliance currently that are available now. You'll hear about it, all 3 today. Well, really the Green Leaders and ScaleUp program in detail. I did want to highlight that there is the Tucson 2030 district program, which is focused on helping businesses reduce energy, water, and transportation by 50% by 2030, which has significant cost savings by undergoing a deep retrofit planning process. And it's a national initiative that we're fortunate to have here in Tucson as one of 22 cities that have committed to these goals and to help with deep energy and water saving retrofits. So I did want to mention that there's a Green Champion program underway that's about to be launched early in 2021. So if there's anybody who's a building owner or representative listening today and has already thought through how to aim for bigger goals, we do have an advanced program under the Alliance that is there to help you meet those goals. And I'll save any details on Green Leaders and ScaleUp for the rest of the team to get into the details. And then I want to close on how it's all linked. We have really 3 levels here under the Alliance. We have a foundational level with the certification program with Green Leaders. We have ScaleUp, which is more advanced, intermediate to advanced for project planning for sustainability and the benefits that go along with it. And then the Tucson 2030 District Green Champion program as the hallmark programs, and then linking with like-minded partners like the Tucson City of Gastronomy and our partners that I've mentioned before, who are very supportive of the work we do, and we're thankful for their leadership. And the City of Tucson, I want to name all the work being done with the Million Trees Initiative and the Mayor's Office commitment to the Alliance, and Barbara's office and the commitment to the Alliance and Scale Up. We really are appreciative of your work. So now I'm going to hand it off to Claire Kaufman to lead the Scale Up discussion.
Thanks, Mike. Cool. So ScaleUp, as Mike kind of touched on, is a virtual workshop series. It was in person prior to COVID, and likely post-COVID will be in person, but currently it's virtual. And the goal is really to help business owners dive into assessing their energy, water, and waste usage and specific strategies for reducing all of that. And so we've had some really innovative projects come out of it, as Luke will share, and I have some other examples to talk through. But the main thing that we kind of use to wrap to describe ScaleUp succinctly is that it goes from sustainability education to collaboration with like-minded businesses, to project planning, to financing, and then to implementation. And so we kind of support businesses through this entire process of sustainable project planning and implementation. Next slide. So the first ScaleUp participants were in 2018, and you can see a few businesses from the Tucson area here. I'll talk a little bit more about those in a second too. And then this was our current cohort. So this is the cohort that Luke was part of. This was our first ScaleUp cohort of 2020. It finished last month, or in September. And this was our first virtual cohort, and what we did is we expanded it to be open to the Phoenix metro area and the Tucson metro area. We had about equal representation from both, and I actually think it was a really successful model because we got a lot of collaboration from businesses in different urban areas, and I think it showed businesses in both places some of the opportunities that maybe exist somewhere else and could be implemented here, and vice versa. So you can go on to the next one too. And then finally, this is our cohort 2. We're calling the first one our pilot. That one was in 2018. So the one that was just finished is this cohort 2. It just finished last week. And we had 12 businesses sign up. It's been really exciting to see businesses get excited about this, and really it's very inspiring to see businesses plan these projects, especially when considering everything else that businesses are dealing with and people are dealing with in general. And we found that, you know, in many ways, this is, for many businesses, it's a good time for them to dive into this type of project planning because maybe things are a little slower. For others, you know, it's a good way to think about things that while people aren't in the office, how they can reduce costs and make some changes for when people do come back into the office. And others are really thinking about pivoting their business model in totally different directions. So this is like a good sounding board and workshop area. So we've seen all different types of businesses. You can see like there's Chapman Honda, a car dealership. There's a few really small nonprofits. There's Stackhouse, you know, a real estate company. So we really have a really interesting mix, and it's been really great to get that virtual networking happening. And I think it's, you know, it's been pretty successful so far. So one of the main, the central component of ScaleUp is this 20% reduction. And it's the goal of any ScaleUp project is to have a 20% reduction in energy use, water consumption, waste, or transportation. And you can, you know, mix and match. You could do 10% in energy, 10% in water, something like that. And then also each project must have a social component. So as part of the sustainability plan, it's like, how do you communicate this to your employees and your customers? How do you think about the impact of this program on your neighbors? Things like that. And so we're wanting to make sure that people are thinking about equity, who it's serving, who it's impacting, and resiliency, how this might make your business more resilient in the case of future shocks. Like COVID's definitely a shock, but there could be other things that happen, particularly related to climate change in the Southwest, like drought and heat. And so just making sure that businesses are preparing for those as well. And on the next slide, you can see why we chose the 20%. 20% is part of the 2030 challenge for planning goals. So these goals are for the urban built, so the urban built environment is responsible for 75% of annual global greenhouse gas emissions approximately, buildings alone, though, they account for like somewhere between 30 to 40%. So it's really critical that the urban built environment does eliminate these emissions. And the goal of the 2030 challenge for planning and the Tucson 2030 district, which the city, county, and university are all part of, is to reach a 50% reduction by 2030, and on the way there, a 20% reduction by 2020. So in terms of why scale up, I kind of mentioned this at the beginning, but really quick, again, mainly learn about sustainability. So in each week of Scale Up, we have a different local expert facilitator that will talk about their topic, whether it's energy, water, waste, transportation, talk about the specific business actions that can be done, and then there's breakout discussion sections. So there's a lot of learning from experts and peers. And then we also teach you how to benchmark your property. So benchmarking is a fancy word for just like seeing how much energy and water and waste you're already generating over a period of time. And that's how we can set that goal. And then collaboration, like I mentioned, planning for your project. We have a project plan template and we work with businesses on developing that. And then we help businesses finance these projects. So we have a low interest revolving loan. It's actually a low to no interest revolving loan, depending on the type of project. It's called our Green Community Fund. And then we help businesses implement those projects. We have lots of exclusive benefits for ScaleUp participants, recognized for their efforts. Local First has a pretty large online audience, so we share those out. We have lots of local partners, like Barbara and the Office of Economic Initiatives. So yeah, and then we help businesses rebuild with an emphasis on equity and sustainability. And again, I'm not going to get into this, but just a really quick overview of the different weeks. I'll just read the headings. So the first week is an orientation to scale up. Second week is water. Third, energy. Fourth, waste. Fifth, transportation. Sixth, culture of sustainability. And the seventh week, everyone presents on their projects. And again, it's a pretty fun, curated curriculum for businesses. And finally, just to touch a little bit more on the financial tools, we have a few different tools available to help businesses really think through the cost-benefit analysis of their programs. So there's a ROI and payback analysis sheet. We have a huge spreadsheet that identifies all the different rebates available, no matter what your utility is, and will help you navigate that. And then again, different loan options. So either that's connecting you with a local credit union and community bank, or helping you get funded through the Green Community Fund. And yeah, so our next cohort, that should say, the second one should say done now, but the next cohort starts in January, and that's January 12th to February 23rd. And the fourth one is March 9th and April 20th. And I'm not going to go into all this cost, but basically the main takeaway is it ranges based on whether you're a single location, the size of your location, and how many employees you have. We also have discounts whether you've gone through our other program, which Kelly will talk about if you're a nonprofit. And then because it's COVID and because we know that businesses are dealing with a lot, we have other scholarships available on a case-by-case need basis. I'm gonna skip this and maybe come back at the end to it. I did want to just mention this. This is a fun case study. Sonoran Glass School was in the pilot ScaleUp program in 2018. They were looking for a way to recycle their furnace glass blowing shop's glass waste, and through ScaleUp connected to Bottle Rocket, which they make lots of different things out of crushed glass, like countertops, planters, candles, and pet bowls. And so through the ScaleUp connection, they were able to start diverting 100 pounds a week of glass waste into Bottle Rocket's project. So that's a cool example of like a ScaleUp collaborative partnership project. And then I'll hand it over to Kelly to talk about the Green Business Leaders Program.
Hi, thanks, Claire. So I'm Kelly Liska, and I am the Green Business Leaders Coordinator. This program is a green certification program for local and non-local businesses and nonprofits in Southern Arizona. So that's Pima, Yuma, Santa Cruz, and Cochise counties specifically. We're kind of envisioning this program as an entry point to our entire kind of like suite of programs. So if if a business wants to be recognized for sustainability measures that they already have in place, or they just want to learn more, evaluate what they want to do and goal set, this is a great program. And we have an easy to use checklist to do that, which I'll talk about a little bit later. But throughout the program, our businesses and nonprofits also receive individualized consulting and support. And when they complete the checklist and complete their certification, they receive marketing promotion and recognition from us. And we also have, it's also 100% virtual, just like ScaleUp at the moment. And the entire program is also available in Spanish. So this is our checklist preview. It's not the entire thing, it's just a graphic showing kind of what we focus on with our checklist. And so we have a few different categories. As you can see, we have 3 required starting actions that the main one is like starting to benchmark. So starting to put in, you know, what your energy, water, etc. use is, so you kind of see where you're starting from and you can track it. Then we have resiliency, energy, water and green infrastructure, waste and procurement, transportation, food and events, equity and environmental justice, community engagement, and next steps. And then we also have up to 5 points being additional actions that are things that are not on the checklist, but maybe business you know, wants to include and get points for. So you can see it with this sort of range of different measures that businesses can get credit for. It's not just straight like sustainability, not just electricity use and saving water, although those are equally important. We also include the equity and environmental justice, resiliency, and community engagement pieces that are, I think, essential to building sustainability. So. Yeah, so this is just a screenshot from our website, Why Get Certified. So the main pieces are improving your business and then gaining skills and knowledge. So getting recognized for things you're already doing in your leadership, saving money with sustainability measures, making more money and gaining customers from our promotion and connections to other businesses too. Creating a more meaningful and supportive place to work, and also getting recognition for doing that. Strengthening your business team and your business plan. Again, that resiliency piece. And then of course, learning best practices, learning about sustainability, discovering local resources that you can take advantage of, and then getting that, again, that consulting from us and personalized recommendations, research that we can do for you and we can connect you to, supporting your community, being part of a regenerative economy. And then we also offer every other week really fun social happy hours for all our green leaders, just as a way to network and get together and see how everyone is doing. And I think that is a really important piece of what we do is that connection. And then specifically, like what businesses will get from going through the program. We have different tiers of our checklist. So if you get 30 points, you are a bronze certified business and you have to get 30 points to certify. And then silver is 40 and gold is at least 50. So everybody gets a certificate, a decal, and logos. They get recognized at our award ceremony, which we haven't had one yet. It will probably be virtual, at least for the first year. Also included in our directory, and we mentioned them on our blog and in social media. And then silver and gold, they get additional promotion, longer blurbs, special recognition of the level achieved. And then gold, they get their logos on our website. And then again, extra special recognition. Cool. And then this is just a screenshot of one of our happy hours. So we had a guest speaker, Daniel Clark, who talked about hydroponics, which was so fun. And we learned about that. So he gave a presentation and you can see we're all listening. And then we had a discussion afterwards, really lively and just, yeah, a lovely sort of virtual space to get together and get to know each other and learn about sustainability.
Thanks, Kelly. And I want to shout out the creativity and innovation that Kelly and Claire have been bringing to the programs with Green Leaders and ScaleUp to really meet the current landscape, the need to be prioritizing safety and health in our community and providing these programs completely virtual for businesses to be able to learn as a group, as cohorts, but also on their own time as well, and have that flexibility to it, because we know the overwhelm going on and it's important to meet people where they're at. And that's something we've been doing since the crisis began. So I wanted to shout that out, that it's been really effective to have these approaches underway. And I wanted to name a few progress examples as well, coming out of our cohort 2, just briefly, and then I want to hand it off to our business representatives. I'm really appreciative of them being here today. Yeah, so our current progress examples to be aware of: Imago Dei Middle School completed a water audit with cohort 1 recently, which showed that if low flow faucets, toilets, and urinals were installed, it would result in projected efficiency savings of 60 to 70% for the site of the building. And then second, for the community kitchen, with the initial waste audit done, it was found that they were sending 1,980 gallons of waste to the landfill monthly, and the goal is now to reduce that number by 20% with the minimum goals that you heard about for the areas covered by ScaleUp that Claire covered. So now I'm going to stop my share, and I want to again thank Heidi and Alan and Luke for being here to talk about their work with our cohorts. We're already into the second, or done with the second cohort launch period for ScaleUp this year, and you'll hear about that in a moment. But I wanted to first hand it off to Heidi and Alan to talk about leaders in your experience going green and being economically sustainable.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you so much for having us. It was a fantastic experience. From a small business perspective, just starting out in our 4th year, we knew that we had some goals that we wanted to meet, but we weren't sure how. And so the checklist, first of all, was freaking fantastic. It made it super easy to see what our goals are, see what it is that we need to attain. And it felt good, honestly, to check off things that we've already done. Kelly was super helpful with always being there, wonderful resource. I think that the program itself is fantastic in many senses, of which most, I think the most like the holistic point of view. Not only is it green for the environment and saving our planet, it's also for local sustainability and for business resiliency. And I really, truly appreciated that there was an opportunity to show equality, inclusivity. And I think that was touched on previously in this conversation, but that's so important. And all of that, you know, interconnects for sure. And without one, I don't think so much you can have the other be truly successful. So it was super helpful for us. And it was, again, fantastic. We have a whole list of goals for 2021. That way we would like to reapply and hopefully get gold next time. But it was truly a fantastic experience, and it felt amazing to go through it, and we appreciated all the support.
Yeah,
So-
one of the standout things to me during all this was not only being kind of validated for some of the things we're already doing. That, like Heidi said, that felt really good to just kind of you know, have some proof that, you know, we're doing the right thing even, you know, before we joined. But also you guys reached out to us for ideas on the technology space, and, you know, the group being open to, you know, not only just the standard vanilla kinds of things around a green initiative, but what are some of the things that technology can enable? And, you know, that's really in our space, and being able to contribute back to make it better for everybody. That was, I love that part.
Thanks for your overview of what you've been up to. I know you've gone fast with the checklist, which was really impressive in these times to move as quickly as you have. So thank you for embracing the possibilities of what you could do with your business model, which I know you're already big on with what you do, which is great to have for the network, and that you connect with a lot of our fellow local first members in that way. And thanks for all your creativity you bring daily to Tucson. I think we'll leave it to questions until we cover the other representative. Unless, Barbara, are there any questions coming up that you want us to cover from Green Leaders?
So I encourage everyone to put their questions in the chat box and Q of A if you'd like. I was thinking though, and I think Alan started to touch on that based on sort of a framework of the business that they do, and really what the green initiatives, you know, what impacted them most, or did they have any aha moments when they were going through some of the learning and the checklist portion of the program? You know, what were those aha moments, and how did that impact you as, you know, for your business? What would you say?
I think that I would say some aha moments. I was thinking that maybe we were far from the mark of being sustainable, that we had a significant amount to go. As hard as we try to be inclusive and be a green company and have 100% remote workforce and have all these different things that kind of create who we are as a business, I was concerned that we were off the mark a bit. And it was so invigorating to be able to just check things off and go, oh, we have done that. We are doing that. Oh, no, we haven't done that, but we'll plan to do that. So I think that part of it was fantastic, and an aha moment. And another one was seeing what we have left for our goals, and to be able to have an actual list so that I can just go down and now I go, okay, we need to do this, and then we can be done with it and submit. We need to do that and check it off. That was a fantastic part of it, is the organization.
And what would you say, you know, to businesses that may think, well, you know, the green stuff, the green initiatives aren't for me? What would you say to a business sitting on a fence like that? Not so sure.
I think that this day and age, we don't really have a choice. I think it's all part of our responsibility as a business, whether we're local or global, that we care about our planet and we care about everything on that planet. And that includes humans and resources, resiliency, doing our best to protect the environment and promote inclusivity and equity. And yeah, I think that that's just so key to everything, that why wouldn't you do it?
I would encourage businesses to take the long view on things. You know, it may not seem so important now, but you're going to jump on this bandwagon whether you like it or not. It's a pay now or pay later kind of thing. So I would encourage people to pay now. The longer you don't do this, the more difficult, the more expensive, and the more troublesome it can be to go here.
I appreciate that, both those comments, and I wanted to add to that with the context that the city of Tucson passed the city of Tucson Climate Emergency Declaration. The time is here to do something about this, and it can be economically beneficial, but more importantly, it's about the ability to live in a healthy community, like I mentioned before. And when I mentioned something like a regenerative economy, and I mentioned it being human-centered, and making sure that health is a priority, and also that we are considering the finite resources that we have available to do business, to be in this community, in a desert community like ours especially, we should be thinking that as our top of mind priority, so that we can continue to live in this wonderful place that we love called Tucson, and in the state of Arizona, right? So
Yeah.
I think we need to be keeping that in mind. If everyone on this webinar has been here this year, living here, you know the summer, you know what we went through, you know the trends, you know it's already here. The climate crisis is already underway. It's a question of now, what do we do about it? So thank you both for bringing those points to the forefront here.
Of course.
Fantastic.
Great. Well, then should I shift over then to Luke? Does that sound good, Barbara? Okay, great. Well, Luke from Brink, thank you for being here to talk about ScaleUp and the ambitious projects that you're undertaking as well.
Well, thank you so much. It's wonderful to be here. I appreciate being invited. ScaleUp was something that had been on Brink's radar for a while. We'd been affiliated with Local First and with Gina Murphy-Darling of Mrs. Green's World for a while. And we've been doing a lot of work on just crystallizing like our company's values and what it is we stand for and the kind of clients we want to attract. And, you know, so out of that, doing this just seemed a natural fit. I mean, sustainability, a thriving local economy, strong communities. These are things that Brink very much supports. You know, a lot of our largest client, Vantage West, is you know, very much invested in keeping the local economy very strong and very healthy. So you know, it was just time that we did it, and I'm so glad that we did. I think as Heidi was talking about, one of the fears going into it was that I think you said we're way off the mark, and that was kind of one of our fears too. And with one of the most powerful tools and one of the most important things I think that came out of it was this benchmarking process, really assessing where you're at now and where you need to go. Because I think so many of us, we have an understanding that this climate emergency is now, the time for just raising awareness has passed, and now we have to take action. But that can be sort of paralyzingly terrifying to even take a first step. You're like, oh, where do I start? There's so much to be done. And just seeing with some of our benchmarking of like our utilities, for example, we were actually in a way better place than I thought. Our office is a very old building on South 6th Avenue. It was refurbished in 2012, and you know, sort of what we found out with the benchmarking was, oh, we actually, you know, we installed a lot of efficient appliances, and all of our sinks and toilets are low flow. So I was looking at the data, I was like, oh, okay, we're actually not bad here. So it was nice getting that little bit of, you know, sort of encouragement right at the beginning. But then, you know, some of the other checklists, some of the other areas are pointing out, okay, these are things we need to improve, or these are areas that we actually need to investigate further to see where we're at. And it just creates a very easy to follow kind of roadmap, you know, seeing where you are and seeing what your goal is, and then all of the resources in between to get you from point A to point B was so helpful. And to have that community of people to bounce things off of. You know, every company was very different, had very different facilities, had a very different product or service. So it was interesting to see how all of these different kinds of small businesses are interacting with and relating with these topics. I can go ahead and share my screen.
while you do that, let me ask you a question too. What were a couple
Sure.
of those easy things that your business that you did at Brink early on, after you started getting into the checklist and seeing some things where you could add into your business model of these kind of green practices and sustainable practices? What were?
Yeah, absolutely. And actually, that's what I was going to share was a little bit of the plan that we created, and it covers some of those things. So let me share that. Just a moment.
There you go.
Okay.
Awesome.
All right, y'all can see that fine?
Yes.
Very good. Oh, why can't I? Okay. Okay. So yeah, just the sort of baseline why we're here. You know, we are a purpose-driven strategy and creative agency, and you know what we do in the world is use design, art, technology, language to elevate our communities and cultures and win more hearts and minds for progressive brands. Progressive brands being for-profit companies, nonprofit orgs, political candidates who desire and seek, you know, forward movement and positive change in their communities and the world. So sort of the four mantras or four values are defy convention, stand by what you believe, cut the bullshit, and get to work. So that, you know, meshes very nicely with the ethos of Scale Up, I think. It's, you know, identify what the issues are, stop doing things the way we've been doing them that aren't working, stand by your beliefs, and start doing something about it. So
It definitely does.
very, very good value fit there. So basically, you know, our communities and culture can't be elevated on a dead planet, and they can't be elevated if equity and resilience aren't always top of mind core values and the, you know, the starting place from how you do everything in your business. So, you know, we don't have time for business as usual. We have to act now. So getting into our plan here. So the immediate implementation was really solidifying that idea around the green team. So, you know, we've worked with Gina Murphy-Darling of Mrs. Green's World in the past. She's, you know, wonderful. We love working with her. So we immediately set up a, you know, independent consultation with her just to kind of solidify that relationship as an outside consultant and as a continuing resource. And you know, identifying perhaps community outreach to you know, keep that synergy going, because like I was saying about having that just community of people to bounce ideas off of, it's so much easier to move forward with these projects if you're not just sitting in a silo, you know, stewing in your own thoughts, but you have somewhere to really flesh these ideas out. And then, you know, as part of that, we started baking some of our goals into our strategic 2021-2022 business planning. So some of the things that we've come up with are, you know, not just in this silo of the green team, but they're really company-wide, you know, long-term strategic planning, getting some of those goals baked into that. So it's part of everything that we do. And then for our waste stream, so, you know, identifying kind of the low-hanging fruit. And a lot of these things, they're a little bit on hold because we're not really using our office so much right now. But I have to say that, you know, even in my, you know, we're all working from home for the most part. A lot of this stuff has seeped into just how I do things at my house. So being a little bit more fastidious about my recycling and really paying attention to, you know, while our homes are our offices in this weird time, you know, treating everything that I've learned through the Scale Up program and applying that to my house as much as possible. I actually replaced every single incandescent and compact fluorescent bulb in my house with LEDs after going through the program. So, so yeah, just some of the low-hanging fruit was, you know, just taking stuff that's already compostable or recyclable, things that are going into the trash and diverting those. determining how much contamination is happening so that we can, and increasing education in the office space. So, not everyone necessarily understands what can go where and why certain things can't go where, and identifying where the most contamination is happening and then creating some in-office education around that. And then let's see, let's move forward to our next one. Yeah, green transportation. Also more relevant once we're actually back in the office, but we actually have several employees who regularly ride their bikes to work, but we don't have any bike parking. So getting bike parking installed. We actually have my partner who did the program with me from Brink is an architecture student. And so she had volunteered to do some welding. She has access to the shop at the U of A. So creating some bike parking for us to install. And then also we're wanting to reach out to, there's a couple of bike shops right in the neighborhood. So creating a partnership where Brink would pay for, free basic maintenance, tire changes, things like that for employees to incentivize and make it easier to get to the office. We also created a Google map with pins for all the employees so that we can analyze commutes and propose some potential green transportation, carpool or public transportation in the future. And then also just sort of recognizing that even in a post-COVID world, not everyone needs to be in an office 40 hours a week to get done what needs to be done. So we've always had a very flexible work schedule, but just continuing to have that be part of our ethos. If you don't need to commute into work, then don't. Let's see. So yeah, this is the map we put together. We created a 5-mile easy bike radius to see like who's in that radius, and then we're continuing to work on what a green transportation incentive program might look like once we are all able to be back together in the office. One of the big things that I really wanted to address was our reliance on that dirty A word, Amazon. It's so easy. It's so easy to order from Amazon, and with a lot of our, video and video production, sometimes you need that prop, you need that piece of equipment, and you need it yesterday, and it's just the easiest way to go. But that being said, there are lots of opportunities for local vendors as alternatives to Amazon. So one of the projects that I'm going to be completing at the end of the year is really doing an analysis of how much money we spend on Amazon, and we've already put into our long-term strategic planning to reduce that number by 50% by 2022. So trying to get more into local procurement and decreasing our carbon footprint from supply chain logistics. And then there's this sort of second phase based on that I won't get too much into now because it's very much in the concepting phase, but it has to do with continuing to develop our current property, utilizing techniques like native planting and more trees to create more of an urban cool corridor to combat that urban heat island effect. We are in a lower income neighborhood, and as we learned in the cohort, lower income neighborhoods are more vulnerable to the urban heat island effect. So tying in those social equity as well as environmental goals was really important for us as well, and I was so happy that that was such a big part of the program. So yeah, we have a lot of small things that we're working on, and then some like loftier long-term goals. So it's a good place to be.
Yeah, those were great examples, Luke. I really think that gave us a feel for what you've been able to accomplish and how much of a difference it's making, and also how easy it seemingly easy, but how important it is to have someone help you walk through that process. And so I think that's the value of the program. Lisa has asked a question here about, how much support would you say was given in comparison to the cost of the $199 or the cost of the program and the payoff with improvements that you see? She has some folks she wants to recommend. I mean, what's your take on then the value of what you got?
I mean, I don't think the value can be overstated. I think it was incredibly valuable. I think, absolutely worth every penny, not just for the cohort itself, which, there was a huge amount of information and then resources that are available afterwards to look back on. But, there's continuing one-on-one support. If I have a question about anything at any time, I can reach out to Mike, I can reach out to Claire, and I know that they're going to do their best to find an answer for me. It was actually incredibly helpful when we were doing our utility benchmarking. I was having a lot of trouble with our water. I just like the Energy Star portfolio manager where you enter all this information. I was having so much trouble, and Mike and Claire were just like on it. Every time I had a question, they would reach out to the city to see if I could get the information downloaded in a better, way, so I can look at, so just a couple of examples. But yeah, I mean, the team really goes above and beyond to cater to your specific business's needs and to be there as support whenever you need it. So absolutely worth it.
That's fantastic. And I appreciate your comments about the local support of, businesses and vendors in our community. I know it's difficult, and I know Alan put some notes in there about what you can do if you're going to use Amazon, but we took that into account with our COVID resources and the dollars we put toward helping businesses get access to marketing on the Hound platform to drive local sales, and now with True Local being a marketplace with Local First Shop Arizona site. These are all Arizona places for our businesses here in our community to have exposure, to drive business, to do what you're talking about. So I appreciate that, and really everyone today. I know we're rounding out our last few minutes, but if there are any last minute questions or any last minute I call them nuggets of wisdom that any one of you would like to share, feel free to take a moment. Anyone?
Yeah, I just wanted to put on the screen our contact information, or the main contact info, if any questions come up. And we can share the slides out too, if that is possible to send it out. Or if you want to email us, we can send them to you. But yeah, that's the email for Claire right there, and our website for sazgba.com. And I just also want to mention, I want to thank everyone again for being here today to talk about the program, and also want to really build on what Luke was talking about with the idea of this being not just about it's more than just about the workshop series with ScaleUp or with Green Leaders, just about the checklist. This is a network that we're building that is ongoing, and we're here to continue to work on other project ideas to recertify, for example, or for ScaleUp to take on an additional project, or first off, get you to that goal or goals that you've set with our planning process over the course of a year. So we work throughout a year, no matter what level you're coming in at, everyone gets that same level of support. And we'll work with you in addition to the Local First team, the University of Arizona team at CAPLA working with us in a partnership to provide ongoing technical research and benchmarking analysis and ensuring that those goals are met through that collaboration with the experts. So I wanted to highlight that as well.
Awesome. Thank you very much. Thanks, Mike, so much for bringing everybody together today, and really for all of you sharing your insights, because I have learned a lot today. I have already expanded my knowledge greatly on the Green Business Initiatives and the ScaleUp program to help businesses do that. So I appreciate your insights. I think it's fantastic, and we'll have many more cohorts to come. So excited about that. So thanks for everyone. It's time up today, but we will take a couple weeks off around Thanksgiving here. We'll be back Monday, December 7th at 3 p.m. with our next webinar. Be sure to register when you see the email invite in your inbox. It's our goal to keep you connected to the resources you need as we navigate this pandemic together. So mask up, be safe, be cautious this holiday season, and stay in touch with us on connecttucson.com. Thanks, everyone.